Sorry.
We're the band Once Upon a Flatline from Buffalo, New York. I'm Alexis Valentine. I sing and scream.
I'm JC. I play the keys. Dalton. I play bass.
Name's Justin. I play the rhythm guitar and scream.
And we are also missing two members, our lead guitarist, Matt Mayhem, and our drummer, Scrib. And you are watching Concert Junkies with Rob and John. Be sure to hit that bell, like, subscribe, share, follow, and just listen up, I guess. We're here to do a Q&A for you guys, based on our band, Once Upon a Flatline. So, stoked.
Rock and roll.
How did you all meet?
How did we all meet?
How did we meet?
Well, Justin and I are the founding members of Once Upon a Flatline. We've known each other for
Since high school.
a very long time. We were probably, I would say, the token emos at our high school. And we became really good friends after that. After a while, Justin really tried super hard to get me on board with this rock and roll band. He wanted to get off the ground. And one of my conditions of having a rock and roll band was I never wanted Once Upon a Flatline to be an unfinished band. So many times you hear of these bands that have music out or don't have music out without a full set lineup. And before we took any of the songs we wrote to social media, to the people, we wanted to make sure we had a solid lineup of people who were as dedicated to chasing the rock and roll dream as we were. So first things first was our fabulous and ultra-talented drummer, Scrib. We met Scrib through the Ella Santa Army because Justin and I are really big Ella Santa fans. Turns out Scrib has been in the background of every single meet and greet and VIP picture we've gotten since 2011 because he lived only 3.5 hours away from us in a place called Watertown, New York. We spent about a good year of our lives trying to get Scrib to be our friend and then our drummer. We even recorded some of the first demos of Once Upon a Flatline with him in Watertown, so that was pretty awesome. Who's next?
Absolutely.
Me?
Yeah, I think it was you. New Year's Eve, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were having a New Year's Eve party at a place we were living, and I don't know, like a work friend, personal friend, kind of, nothing crazy, nothing fancy. The evening was progressing, and the year had changed. And from the other room, we heard some piano being played. Unbeknownst to me that there was any piano players at the party, we meandered into the next room to discover JC, and they're slugging away at the keys. Beautiful, emotional playing. Solemn, yet uplifting. And I'm getting off topic. In any event, I asked him if he ever thought about being in a rock and roll band.
And I said yes.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
Boom.
Just
Well, I
super
don't know.
talented.
Yeah.
And then next, so while Justin plays the rhythm guitar and is incredibly good at it, one of my, I don't know, standards, I guess? I don't think that's the right word, but before we went live with the band, I said we needed to find a lead guitarist. I was like, listen, 10 years ago in Buffalo, you could throw a rock and hit a guitarist, but with music being the way it is now and the scene being the way that it's becoming, we had a lot of difficulty finding a lead guitarist with the same kind of passions we do for theatrical rock and roll and not the same cut and paste whatever the kids are into nowadays. So with that being said, I said absolutely not. We are not full enough sounding without a lead guitarist, so we have to find one. Justin, over here then, brought to my attention that he had plans to meet with a guitarist he met on the notorious serial killer meetup site Craigslist.com. I watch a lot of Dateline, informative murder.
So much
porn,
Dateline.
call it. Yeah, so much Dateline. And I was really convinced that this guitarist, who literally claimed to have lived on the street behind where we were living at the time, existed. I was like, they live around the corner.
So naturally, I invited him over. No idea what he looked like, sounded like, how old he might have been. Nothing. I had a good feeling about it, you know.
Thank goodness, because I did not.
One afternoon, I was at my house. Up rolls this red SUV. Young man pops out, opens up the trunk, pulls out a Marshall stack. Hugged him. That was the rest is history. Yeah.
Matt Mayhem. Probably,
Mr. Mayhem.
I would say one of the most talented members of our band. Matt is like, we'll speak on his behalf since he's not here, but he really is like a visionary, so musically trained, got a great ear for everything, the most optimistic, positive, kind person. I'll never say this stuff to his face, I don't think it's but we call Matt the talent. Yeah, definitely the talent, so
Yeah, it can be the other day.
that it could not be here today.
Beautiful man.
Very handsome, 10 out of 10.
Absolutely.
And then last but not least,
Scarecrow.
our bassist, Scarecrow over here. Dalton, Danger Days, Scarecrow over here, works with me and Justin and I, and basically they were the last piece of the puzzle. That one's really short and sweet. We were basically just like, hey, buddy, we love you, and we want you to be a part of this journey with us. So that bass guitar you have in your bedroom, you should dust it off and come be part of Once Upon a Flatline. So
Months of begging.
Months of begging, so much. Basically, though, the whole band was founded and formed with the conversation of, hey, are you happy with what you're doing with your life? Because all of us, we've done it and tried it. We're all in our mid to late 20s now, and I think Justin and I approached every single member of our band and said, are you happy with what you're doing? Because neither are we. And we would really like to do something that creates something meaningful, something impactful, that will change people. So the climate of the world is right now, I'm not going to get into it, but I think it's really important that there are people trying to be the next generation of rock and roll bands for the kids. Because if I didn't have those bands, if we didn't have those bands, I didn't have the amount of growth and healing I wouldn't have done when I was a kid. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Who influenced you to start playing music?
Who influenced us?
Who influenced us?
You guys?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think it all started like with my dad and my uncle. They were really big into playing the guitar and stuff, like playing like Led Zeppelin, a bunch of dad rock bands, you know. And they're like, we started getting me into music. And following up on that, there was this one girl, Alana, who I was really good friends with, like way back when. We went our separate ways, so we don't talk anymore. But yeah, she's the one who got me into piano. Then after her, it was my two piano teachers, Kim and Blake. They really like, what do I say, like hammered it in that like, yeah, this is a thing I want to do with my life. So, and after that, just kept learning on my own and just developing my own style, listening to different bands like Green Day. I like a lot of punk bands, like Bayside's a big one. MCR, of course. But you're gonna hear that from everyone.
What is that supposed to mean?
Stupid.
But yeah. But yeah, just a lot of punk instead of emo, but
I don't like that word. Emo. You want me to go next?
sure.
So my biggest musical influence was definitely my dad when I was little. My dad and my mom, but when I was little, I would come home from elementary school and ask my dad if we could watch the black VHS tape, which was Queen live in concert. It was a black VHS with their big frickin' gold logo on the front. I guess to apologize to my parents for making them play that that VHS so many times it broke. That definitely started it. My love for Freddie Mercury, my dad's love for music. He was really big into ABBA, the Beatles, Elvis Presley, and then it was my mom who got me into metal. My mom was the biggest Metallica and Kiss fan I've ever met. Alice Cooper as well. She really introduced to me that theatrical element of music, which then got me into things like people like David Bowie, Nick Cave, The Cure, My Chemical Romance. And then if we're going to use words like emo, what really brought me into like the darker side of music was the very first CD I think I bought that showed me the light was The Silence in Black and White by Hawthorne Heights from Media Play. Did no idea what it was. I just thought the cover was spooky. I brought it over to that little scanner where you scan a CD and sample it, and I think from that single moment on, my life was changed. I was like, you can make sounds like that in music? Oh my god. So, besides that, I get a lot of comments about how I sound classically trained, and that's because I've been singing since I was a little kid. I got away from it as an adult a little in high school. I was like a heavier kid growing up, so in my opinion, I wasn't pretty enough to be in musicals. But up until high school, I was singing in choruses, loved musicals. I've been singing like a Disney princess in the comfort of my mother's house since I was a little girl. So once again, thanks to my parents for letting me pretend I was Little Mermaid in their bathtub at home every night for a couple of years. So musicals, go figure. We like those.
What?
You next?
Scarecrow.
You
Me?
next?
You?
Oh, no. Alright, so I'm going to get a little cheesy here. My biggest inspirations are pretty much all in this room right now. They all kind of showed me the world of music that we all listen to now. Got me into it. Got me really into it to the point where I'm now playing in a band with them.
Well,
Welcome.
And of course, as JC would say, MCR, of course, was huge. Particularly Danger Days, favorite album. Can't beat it yet.
that's right.
We'll see what they're going to come up with. Yeah, just pretty much that. Short and sweet.
Last but certainly not least.
Oh, me? Oh.
Hello.
What happened? When I was in the 5th grade, my father purchased me a bass guitar where I didn't really quite know what a bass guitar was. So in the 7th grade, I got super into this band, Green Day. And my dad obviously became aware of this and informed me that the bass guitar that was in our basement for those 2 years, give or take, could actually play the Green Day songs that I was listening to, particularly the album American Idiot, which is the one I got first into them. And I was pretty perplexed by the whole situation. I went downstairs, grabbed the bass guitar, looked up what I discovered were guitar tabs, and taught myself how to play the song American Idiot. And I guess the rest, as they say, is history in that regard. The obviously, if anyone follows us, they know our music has a decent amount of like demonic screaming or whatever it is that I do, and that didn't necessarily come from my love for Green Day. That was more I got into the screaming music with I don't want to say the first band I ever listened to with screaming in it was probably My Chemical Romance, if you've ever heard of them. They're not necessarily the album that I first got, but just getting into Three Cheers when, like, I got it, and being a fan, I got into their older stuff, which had a decent amount of the yelling in it. And then from there, I kind of picked up the ball and rolled with it. I started getting into bands like Chiodos and Senses Fail, and then I discovered, I don't know, Bring Me the Horizon on MySpace, and Alisana, definitely probably the biggest one in regards to my personal, you know, when it occurred to me that I was able to do anything remotely like that with my mouth. Yep, that's my job.
Thanks.
When you go on your first tour, what you have
What do we need on tour?
I have this plan.
Clean socks. Please, Lord God. Cannot sleep in wet socks with no.
Oh, yeah.
Planet
Socks.
Fitness gym membership, which I think we already have.
Yes.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy 4 loaves of bread.
The deli meat story.
I'm going to buy deli meat in every city. What?
Deli
going
meat
to-
is expensive. I keep telling you.
I'm
this.
going to buy deli meat in every city. Sandwich in the morning with my vitamins. Sandwich before the set. Maybe a sandwich after, depending on how I'm feeling. You know what I mean? 4 loaves of bread, that'll take up 2-3 weeks.
No. I cannot wait for this plan to fail. Maybe like a jar of peanut butter, but you gotta keep it away from me.
So I'd have to buy jelly in every city?
I mean, you don't have to have jelly. Part of touring is going without. Oh,
But peanut
God.
butter would kill JC.
can still eat. Gotta eat.
A lot of things.
Jump.
I'm excited for how thin Tor will make me from not eating the whole time. I don't know what else we need.
Greek yogurt.
I mean, probably eyeliner and bulk. Eyeliner. So many pencil eyeliners.
We'll need makeup, yeah.
We're cheap too, so if anyone wants to surprise us, those like little 99-cent boys, just throw them right on stage. Because
Maybe I was
a
born with
sharpener.
it.
Could you imagine? Oh my god! If we left town without a sharpener for our eyeliner pencils,
Just crack it
Tour's
in half,
over. Cancel.
chisel it on the
We're
sidewalk. We've all been
We're just
there.
like shaving it with a pocket knife.
I'll be ready soon.
I don't know. I think that's good.
Planet Fitness, cheap things to eat.
Eyeliner, socks,
Loaves of bread.
bread.
That is nice. That is good.
Tour life.
Ready?
Mm-hmm. If you weren't playing music, what would you want to do with your life?
What does that even mean?
What does that mean? It's kind of a loaded question because this is the only thing I want to be doing with my life. I think that's really like why we're all here. We kind of did the thing of I went to art school. I also went to school. I went to college for constitutional law. I know JC was in school for a while. I don't know. This whole thing is
Psych and then art.
psych and then art. 2 art school dropouts. High five.
Oh yeah.
Bring it home. But this whole band is because none of us want to be doing anything other than being in a band. So bands don't fail; they break up. So we will keep on keeping on until we all give up together. If that makes sense. So that's what we all signed on to, and we all got together. So this is it. This is the only thing I want to be doing. We want to be doing
Mutually.
from now until forever, till I can go solo and start my pop career.
I cannot wait.
For your pop career, or for me to go solo?
I love your singing.
Oh,
I'll listen to that all day.
my heart. Okay. That was less mean than I thought. It sounded mean at first, like you kicking me out right now on this Q&A. Maybe
Oh.
Broadway career? That'd be sick. Lay out a dream to dream.
I can see that.
Music is the future. Even if we end up being in our 60s, 70s covering like The Clash at a bar, we're like, okay, this is it. This is all I want. So,
Rock.
And you should take this next question like, for those who have played venues, what is your favorite venue to play and why? And then, what is your dream venue?
So favorite venue and dream venues.
Favorite venue's gotta be Mohawk. Yeah, everyone's been at. So.
Good old Mohawk Place in Buffalo, New York is a beautiful, beautiful place. Great people working there. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, we love our Mohawk place. They gave us our first opportunities. It's cute. Yeah.
Someday I would very like to play the Agora in Cleveland.
It's a good venue. They just redid it too last year.
Really?
Yeah, it's one of them historical venues. My dream venue is Red Rocks, hands down.
Oh man, Colorado.
In Colorado.
It's a beautiful place.
Beautiful place. So, I mean, everyone wants to play Madison Square Garden, so I assume that's Kid Becomes the Dream right there. I want to play, I don't even know what it's called now, the first Niagara Center in Buffalo, maybe, just to see if the acoustics sound as bad from on stage as they do from any seat in the entire building.
Oh,
it's like,
no.
wow, I can't hear us either, that's good. I feel less
no.
bad now. I hope it's like good freeze.
It's still counting.
I hope so. Okay,
Wait a minute.
Anybody else? Favorite venue? No.
Yeah.
I miss the waiting room.
We have
Waiting room is cool. It's been down this club.
What was the first concert you ever went to?
You can go first, Josh. You should laugh.
Mine was Bon Jovi. My dad, when I was like 8 or 10 or somewhere around there. It was a good time, but it's like, meh, it was Bon Jovi. I mean, I like him, but like,
There's nothing wrong with Bon
Yeah,
Jovi.
there's nothing wrong with Bon
No,
Jovi. It's just like, wasn't what I was into, and it more for him than me. So, but yeah, it's cool. But like, yeah.
How about you, Scarecrow? First show?
Oh, I can't remember my first show. Oh my gosh, I was like 5. Went somewhere with my parents. That was a while ago. First one I can remember offhand, though. I'm gonna say Nickelback. Honestly.
There it is.
Yep. No, you
We're just gonna move on.
Yeah,
I
just
see
move
why
on.
you didn't want to answer. Nothing wrong with Nickelback, I guess. All right.
My first concert was actually one of, if not the first, Project Revolution. My dad took me to the Darien Lake because I was super into Linkin Park when I was I think around when I was in the 5th grade when I acquired the bass guitar. Although obviously I didn't play it. But so I got to see Linkin Park and The Used and Snoop Dogg and Korn and Less Than Jake and Funeral for a Friend, and it was a weird day, but yeah, it set the stage, if you will.
My first concert was almost, if not more, emo than yours. My first concert was the Black Clouds and Underdogs tour, which was Fall Out Boy, the All American Rejects, a band called October Fall, Hawthorne Heights, and From First to Last. And I think that was it. So that was pretty cool, I guess. So
Absolutely.
I was really young too. I remember I definitely was there with parents, so I don't know how old I was though. But yeah.
Nice.
I remember I had a T-shirt that I thought meant I was so little. I bought this T-shirt from a thrift store that said "Save a Drum, Bang a Drummer" on it, and I just was gonna wear it to the show. And my mom, in that single moment, I saw her realize that I was definitely her daughter because I was going to a rock and roll show in an inappropriate T-shirt, and B, just the look on her face of, oh my gosh, it's only going to get worse from here. So yeah, I think I dyed my hair black for the first time that week too. So
Makes sense.
heck yeah. Anybody else? No?
What was the first CD you bought when you were young?
First CD? Why are you laughing? What is it?
I forgot the name of it, but it was a country thing that my parents gave me. Big and Rich.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
Oh,
Oh,
No.
oh
I
no.
They know.
The first CD I was ever in possession of was actually a gift. It was the Baja Men's Who Let the Dogs Out. But, so we jammed that for a while. The first CD I ever chose to get was Hybrid Theory by Linkin Park, though. That was my idea.
Nice. That's a good answer.
Ever own a CD, Scarecrow?
Several. My first one was actually The Black Parade by My Chemical Romance.
Wow, we got a
Yeah.
baby emo back here.
Yeah.
Ah, baby emos.
So that's what happened.
It was the first time I could afford a CD by myself.
That's fair. I think my first CD I ever bought myself was Skater Boy by Avril Lavigne. I was like, yes, she's so cool and edgy. I want to be just like her. And now look, man, if I only knew. That, and then I said it before, the first CD I ever bought, on my own, was The Silence in Black and White by Hawthorne Heights. I, can still see the memory in my mind of, walking over to the scanner at Media Play. If nobody knows what I'm talking about, you used to be able to scan the back of CDs and sample all the tracks before you bought them. You could spend, hours in music stores. That's the time to be alive. It's, the most boomer thing I've ever said, but it was fun. It was a good time. So, yeah.
So, yeah.
okay. Last question. Which bands would you like to perform with in which venue you would like to play with them in?
We want to play with My Chemical Romance in Nova Scotia in September of this year.
This year.
This year.
This year.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be able to play with MCR. Gerard Way is such an influence to me. I'd probably just sob the entire time. So I don't know.
That's fair.
This is Alessandra.
Yeah, we would love to play with Alessandra. Absolutely. I used to work for Revival Recordings, the record label owned by their singer, and they're just super great to be around. Every day's a party when you're on tour with Alessandra. Blasters, all that fun stuff. Goals. Also, not being the only band on a tour that wears skinny jeans, eyeliner, and screams a bunch. That would be sweet too. While also being referred to as not a metal band. I don't know what you want from us, but I think we sound pretty metal. I don't know. It's confusing. So
I personally would like to go into a Bayside, but that's just me and my favorite band.
I'll tour with Bayside.
I'll tour with whoever.
They're touring with Hawthorne Heights and Senses Fail.
Yeah, I know.
The most emo tour I've ever heard of my whole life.
I know.
It's coming to
It'll be great.
Buffalo. It's going to be a good day.
Yeah,
Great.
it is.
I wonder who the promoter is.
Anyone else?
I don't know. I think those are all the questions too. Let me take a look-see.
Well, the last one is just promote things that are coming up and where they can find you.
Okay, well, that's the end of our Q&A then, folks. You're watching Concert Junkies with Rob and John. Be sure to subscribe, hit the like button. Once again, we are Once Upon a Flatline. We're playing our very first debut headlining show, so we're going to be headlining for the first time on May 2nd at Evening Star Concert Hall in Niagara Falls. We have a bunch of other stuff and releases planned this year. We have 2 singles that are already ready to come out to you. We're just carefully planning the artistic aspect of those because that's really important to us. You can find us on Facebook as Once Upon a Flatline. You can find us on Instagram as @OnceUponAFlatline. You can find us on Twitter as Upon a Flatline because there are too many words for a Twitter handle.
Sure.
I don't know where else. Spotify, Once Upon a Flatline. Our music is available everywhere. So
You can also Google us if you choose to.
yeah, just Google it. just type it right into your search engine. I don't know what else. I think that's it. We're from Buffalo, New York, and thanks for listening, watching, subscribing, all that fun stuff.
Have a good rest of the year.